Hey everybody, and welcome to the Sorting Hat Podcast, the show where everything and anything can and will be sorted. I, as always, am your host, Michael Barryte, joined by my co-host, Brice. Oh, did I pass by one of those little shaky ghost things? Did I pass by one of those shaky ghosts?
Michael!
Oh no, this is the ghost of a dead ancestor.
Start the podcast!
All right. The basic conceit of the show is that we have a fan, comedian, expert on topics.
I'm an expert on Halloween things. I've never once said that to anybody.
All I said was, Santell, let's have him come on and talk about Halloween.
I'm fine with that. I didn't know I'm the expert. Yeah, I'm an expert on Halloween stuff.
The basic descriptor of this, a little not as much the case, and actually goes more to what we normally conceive the show as, of just like, we're going to pick a topic, we're going to have like an improviser on and throw things out. That voice that you heard just like burst into your eardrums.
I'm the ghost of an air horn. Pew, 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 pew.
That is Michael Santell.
Hey, everybody.
And he is an improviser around the Los Angeles area, and also one of the hosts on the YouTube channel Super Couch Fighters, a fighting game let's play.
We love Hadokens. We love quarter circle forwards.
Gotcha.
We do a lot of that.
And we are going to be covering Halloween things, like all things Halloween.
I'm that guy when I play the fighting games that I just keep like doing the one like kick move over and over again, and
you
then
just
your friend's
low
like,
kick
"You
your way
can't
to
do
glory."
that.
Yeah,
you can't do that."
yeah.
I'm like, "Well, why am I winning? Why am I winning? Why am I winning?" Every
Everything
time.
works in a fighting game. Like if they can't adapt to low heavy kick or whatever, guess what? You're a champion.
Hell yeah!
Right? You figured out the meta of that room.
So back to the topic at hand, not fighting games, but all things Halloween.
Sure.
We have a massive list that we're going to presumably try and tackle and sort.
There's a lot of Halloween stuff to cover, folks.
Yes, we started writing out a list, and then I have more than 15 items just here. We stopped even touching on them. I'm not going to read them out because chances are we won't get to them all. It's worth noting, as far as sorting bias goes, I am a Ravenclaw, Reed is a Hufflepuff, and Michael Santell is a Gryffindor.
I just found out. I just went and peed on the stick. I got the results, everybody. I'm a Gryffindor.
Congratulations. Yeah, you're one of those like party Gryffindors.
Yeah, I feel like I slipped in. I feel like the hat was like, I guess Gryffindor.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do. Just get one.
I believe wholeheartedly that Gryffindor is like exactly right for you, because like as far as party Gryffindor goes, Michael is the kind of person who, while we are having a party, as things are winding down, he starts cleaning up.
Yeah. I'm all about like, let's do this hard. And then like 2:00, everyone go to your beds, and I'm just going to do a little picking up and stuff like that.
Well, and you're the person who is like checking in with everybody, which is a very Griffin, like you're caring for the whole community in that regard. So you're like, hey, you okay? You good to drive? Like, do you need to be walked to your car?
Yeah, but it's also the opposite is true. It's like, hey, what are you doing? Let's drink. Shot time.
He funds recently divorced dad, Michael Santell.
I'm just being drowned in sound right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
Don't get loud.
Yeah, we're about to wake up Barryte's roommate any fucking second.
I'm so sorry, Alex.
All right, so Halloween tropes. Let's start. The first one that was thrown out while having the discussion, and I think it's really the first image that like immediately comes to the mind, is the jack-o'-lantern.
Sure. Yeah, man.
Now, are either of you jack-o'-lantern artists?
No, I feel like I carve jack-o'-lanterns like a murderer. Like, it's just a lot of like, stab. Oh, look, an eye. Stab. Oh, an eye.
And then at the end, it's barely recognizable.
Yeah, it's always just like a pulp or something like that.
Like, there are 2 holes and like a larger hole below those 2 holes. So like you can make the argument that it's a face.
Sure. I don't understand. Who are the people that are good at pumpkin art, and how did you find out you were good at pumpkin art?
Dude, they were probably just good at all kinds of art. Like, they were just that kid, like, in middle school, while the rest of you were struggling to, like, make a stick figure, who just, like, had the Mona Lisa up and ready.
I think it's the person who figured out, like, there are ways to carve, like, wood or something like that. Like, those engraved sort of situations. They're like, wait a minute.
Fucking wood
There's
kids.
a light component that we can also play with. The people who are, like, shaving it down so you can get, like, different layers of shadow and whatnot.
Now, where do you fall on the insides? Do you you take them out, you clean the little pumpkin
You
seeds,
have to.
What? Wait, is that optional?
I don't know if it's optional. I don't know if people throw them away, but you put the oil on, the salt and the pepper, and you bake them.
Oh, you're asking if I eat the pumpkin
Oh,
seeds, dude.
yeah.
I
Hell
see.
yeah, I fucks with pumpkin seeds.
I thought you were
me?
like, hey, are you the kind of person who, when you're making a jack-o'-lantern, you just are like fucking go like stabbing it and then you leave all the innards?
No. Well, I feel like that's a much scarier pumpkin.
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like if you saw a jack-o'-lantern with shit coming out of its mouth, you'd be like, oh, fuck.
It's
Its own
also the
guts.
kind of pumpkin that is immediately going to be moldy in like 2 days if you leave the innards there.
I feel like that's the frightening part of the jack-o'-lantern. Like, we all live in a society with Purell, and we're always washing our hands, but like
So
one
for
month
you
out of
to
the year,
have
we're
that-
like, fuck it, I just want rotting vegetables
Just
outside my
black
house.
mold.
Right, like it's never, how does a pumpkin end? It never ends like better than you got it. It always ends in like some fucking weird mess that your mom like destroys when you were at school. And you come home, you're so excited, you're, Mom, where's the pumpkin? She's like, oh, I had to throw that. I throw away that baby.
Because
That's
its
gone.
head was just like collapsing in.
Yeah, it always looks like the dad in Braveheart, the guy with the weird face. You know, like eventually the pumpkin's just like, ugh.
So pumpkin carving is super duper old. They say that the Maori, like, what are they, in New Zealand, have been doing it for like over 700 years. They've been carving gourds, not necessarily in the same tradition. And then in like Halloween context, we've been doing it since about the 19th century. Yeah, and it started in Ireland, and they didn't even just use pumpkins; they also carved turnips.
Yeah, I have heard that one.
I thought it had something to do with like you like carve it so like when evil spirits come to your house,
Yeah.
instead of going in you, they're like, oh shit, I found a person. Wee!
I love that ghosts are so dumb they can't tell the difference between an actual like meat person and then a vegetable person.
Well, what's very weird about that is like you were people. You
Yeah.
should know what a person is.
I don't understand how on every ghost show it's only ghosts from the Victorian era. Like, wouldn't there be fucking ghosts all the time from all of history?
You're trying to see some ghost that's like got an iPhone 5 and it's just mad that I can't use the new iPhone.
I'm just like, I'm sure someone died in 1992. Can't there be a guy with parachute pants like it just haunting this place?
Well, and the guy with parachute pants is also like right next to the like before the white man arrived, like
Yeah.
around here, just like indigenous people who are like cavemaning.
Right,
Like,
wouldn't there just be indigenous ghosts everywhere?
Yeah,
Wouldn't
you
everything
never-
be a
I've-
fucking Indian?
You never hear anyone talk about caveman ghosts. And
Right.
you know they gotta be out there if there are some.
underrepresented.
And caveman ghosts would be the most scary.
Right, because it would just be fucking clanging rocks and shit like that.
Yeah, 'cause
You
you're
can't
getting,
communicate
you're
with
getting
them.
closer and closer to a time that our species like had sex with other species because like of the Neanderthals and shit, right?
They were fucking the little monkey people that were going on. They found them in New Zealand. They found this other offshoot of
that was like super close to us.
super close to us. It was around the same time, and like Homo sapien would just like raid your village and like, yo,
Yeah.
it's party time.
If there was a ghost of a person that would be like that, that's the scariest fucking ghost I can think of. Not some lady who died from dysentery while she was trying to get across the Oregon Trail.
Right. Not some girl who got bit by a snake and just
Yeah.
wanted to see an apple
Not some
again.
woman overcome with consumption in like the 18th century and like died in her bed. You know, I mean, but that's the only kind of ghost you ever see. And that's the only kind of ghost that seems to be attracted to these jack-o'-lanterns.
Good. Higher
What a
out.
great segue!
I'm
right
so
back to
proud
it.
of you, Reed.
I
I'm
know,
so
I've
proud.
never done a segue in my life.
That was really good. So I feel like because pumpkins are like time, like you have to put a little artistic quality, you have to put like a little intelligence. I feel like it's
Yeah.
a Ravenclaw thing.
Ravenclaw, really? I'm leaning Hufflepuff.
Why?
Well, one, it's like it's got a nature component to it, and
Is
Hufflepuff.
everything
And it's a
Hufflepuff
pretty-
naturey?
Yeah, well,
They're pretty
they're,
nature-
They're pretty like they're the ones who are most like jazzed about nature.
That
But
said-
isn't carving a pumpkin like?
But Ravenclaw does have like, I mean, Ravenclaw has a science side to it, so you can argue like that in.
But you're mutilating these. You're like maybe it's Slytherin. You're like taking the fucking life of the pumpkin.
Oh boy!
Like whatever you were gonna do with this pumpkin, this life they could have made more pumpkins. Could have eaten this pumpkin. You're like, fuck it. It's just
Well,
gonna
at that
rot out
point-
there like a
wow,
head
do you
on
think-
a pike.
Wow, you sound like about like vegetarians. How vegetarians talk about meat eaters.
Sure, right.
Like you're like mad about someone killing a pumpkin. I just think pumpkin carving is a very wholesome activity, and that's what makes me think it's Hufflepuff.
I
It's
like
very,
that.
Yeah, it's very like anything is like let's go do do stuff with pumpkins, y'all. It's like super dorky.
All right, moving on.
That and apple picking. I'll say it.
We could also talk about pumpkin picking, but we'll move on from there because I feel like that has downfalls.
As Reed said, oh, that arched black cat.
The one that just got startled.
Yeah.
Like you never catch one. It's like, oh, okay. It wasn't. It's like,
and you never see like a 3D picture of like all stages of the cat.
Yeah.
It's always just at like 110%.
Yeah, and like I have seen a cat do it, but I wouldn't say that that's something that cats do a lot. I'm just putting that out there.
I would say in my adult life, I've seen it happen maybe once, and as a child, I have granted, my exposure to cats was fairly limited.
Friend of the pod, David Miller,
Yes.
has a black cat, and his last time he went homeless, he lived on our extra couch for 6 weeks, and the cat came with him. That fucking cat, I would just come out in the morning to like make my coffee, and the cat would just do that like, freaked me out every single time.
I will admit, that's where I saw it.
Right, it just did it. He just like showed up and
Yeah.
it did it to you.
So maybe this is a thing that black cats do.
I don't think we should get so specific to say all black cats.
Yeah, I feel like you're
Yeah,
really
that's
throwing cats under the bus here. All cats. I think all cats could do this.
Wow. I didn't realize I wouldn't be I thought, usually I'm the one who makes a weird, slightly racist allusion to things on this show. And
All
Michael
cats matter. I don't know if you know
has
that
to be
or
the
not.
one like Reed. No. I get it. It was like the satire had its heart in the right place, but this is not the pod. This is not the pod.
Where are we feeling this guy gets sorted?
What house likes cats? It's nature. Is it a Hufflepuff again? Or is it
No.
like freak the fuck out? So it's like...
So, the body posture of a cat who does this, if I'm recalling correctly, is one who is being aggressive, not one who's intimidated. Because I worked on, not to brag, but I worked for a cat rescue.
What? You did?
Yeah, for a couple of years, I scooped poop for one out in Norco, California. It was called Starlight Stepping Stones. It was for cats who had... that were feral. Feral's like, yeah.
That could also be the name of a cat agency. Starlight Stepping Stones.
Oh, for sure.
If you were just like, yo, we represent all the biggest cats in Hollywood.
You want a cat that can jump on your shoulder? You want a cat that can lick its paw? We got you.
Right. We represent the cat from Meet the Parents. We got that cat. We got the cat from the Austin Powers movies.
We have all the cats from the Aristocats. You thought they were cartoons? No, thhere real.
They were motion capture cats. They put them in suits. Andy Serkis did all the directing.
Where was it? Oh, yeah. And so when a cat, especially all the feral ones, you learn really quickly, like, they're just wild animals, even though they look exactly like the ones that are in your house. Their body posture when they're actually scared is to get as small as possible.
Oh.
And their ears will go back.
Really?
So, like, if a cat is like, huh, it's more likely, like, you want to start some shit because it's trying to make its body as big as possible.
Right. Many animals do that.
I could be wrong. An animal expert could lean in here, but that was my experience.
If the implication is that this is the picture, which means I'm the impetus for the cat doing the action.
Yeah.
Isn't it me then? Aren't we judging the person that's making the cat do that?
Well, no, because in this instance, the cat might be evil because remember, black cats have been villainized very extensively.
Associated with bad luck.
Yeah.
Well, because they were also associated with witches. They were said to be their familiars. And that's why a lot of times people wouldn't trust cats, even during the time of the Black Plague, when cats single-handedly stopped the Black Plague.
Yeah, they needed more cats. If there was more cats, the Black Plague wouldn't have happened.
No, people were killing cats because they thought they were witches and witch assistants, but cats were literally saving their lives from a disease they had no idea how to stop.
Mr. Meow Mix, my assistant, bring me more blood.
Dude, I'm so glad we don't live in an age like that where your doctor is just like, I don't know, dude, I just got to smell this perfume while I check you out, but I'm not really sure what's going to happen.
Have you thought about killing more cats?
I look at you and I see that the problem is you probably need more leeches in your life. I'm going to get you a prescription.
I'm thinking that you need to surround yourself with more rats and call me in the morning.
Now, probably get rid of those dead bodies of all of your loved ones.
Right, bring out your dead.
Because it smells
bad.
bad.
But those will feed the rats, so it's okay.
Oh, God.
So on that...
Slytherin.
No.
The answer is Slytherin.
Do you think so? I mean, like, based on the aggression angle, it's going to probably be going either Gryffindor or Slytherin because both of those
I did think
houses
that. Like, it could be Gryffindor. Like, he's like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
because
they
they're
also
more
say
confrontational.
They also say animals can see ghosts, right? So this might be a cat reacting to seeing something spooky.
Ooh.
And it's warning you.
Yeah, but doesn't everyone see ghosts in Harry Potter world?
In Harry Potter world, yes.
Just
by the way, this is not, we don't have to contextualize everything to be taking place in Harry Potter.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, no,
okay, Gryffindor cat. Give me my Gryffindor cat. We're going to go be scared of the boys.
Yeah, no, I like to describe this as the Harry Potter podcast that has nothing to do with Harry Potter.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the actual characters, just the houses.
Oh, okay, fabulous.
Yeah. Great. Moving on. The bowl of candy outside of the house with the lights off.
Oh, lights are off.
Yeah, the lights are off. They've just they're like, fuck it, here's the bowl of candy, like, grab it, kids.
Why are these people afraid of children?
I don't know if they're afraid of kids or like I'm out of town and I feel like it's the sacrifice so that your house doesn't get egged.
Regardless of the lights being on or off, just like the lazy move of just being like, you just deal with it. Like, take one and move along. Like, that to me, there's a part of me that feels like it is a Ravenclaw move of just like, look, I understand, like, guys, I don't want to be opening and closing my door so much.
Or Ravenclaw would be the one house that doesn't quite get Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the other houses are going to be into it. And that's why everybody got so turned up on that one quiz you did about Halloween, because every house probably wants to claim it. But probably Ravenclaw would be fine. Be like, it's not for me.
Did you guys grow up with anyone who didn't celebrate Halloween?
Yes.
We had a couple of Jehovah's Witnesses family.
Same.
And they would turn off the lights, and I always felt bad because we knew not to go to Mikey's house, but they would bust kids into our neighborhood because we had a nice cul-de-sac and stuff like that, and just all night long. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
Because Jehovah's Witnesses can't celebrate any holidays, and they can't even celebrate birthdays, I think.
Yeah, the only one they do is married, us getting married, our marriage.
Oh, yeah. Anything that's you're at serving God.
Also Christmas. FYI, everyone does. Pretty sure everyone does Christmas.
I have to assume.
Any of the ones where you're directly worshiping God or doing covenants for God, any God business, Jehovah's Witnesses are all over.
Yeah, the religious stuff, the actual holy days.
Right.
But I do remember my great aunt and uncle were really cute about that. You could tell that they were bummed because I think they were converts. And so they would around your birthday, they would get I love you presents.
Yeah.
And so you would just get a present just because they love you, but not because they were giving you.
It just very conveniently was timed with your birthday.
A lot of that
and I could
shit.
be wrong. Jehovah's Witness can lean. I think it was even giving someone a birthday present is almost like giving them an offering. Like you're worshiping that person, even just in the smallest extent.
I find that logic a little strange, but
that's why I'm I might be wrong.
Barryte, don't question that logic.
I'm
this
not...
episode brought to you by The Watchtower. The Watchtower, a monthly subscription. Have you heard the good news?
Me and Santell are going to be outside a donut shop tomorrow.
They have those nice little paper convent things with all the little pamphlets on it, and then we sit under our umbrella, but we don't talk to people.
They're the most chill of all the evangelicals. They if you're no thanks, all right, dude, see you later.
Yeah, and they also have a weird hierarchy in heaven. Only 180,000 get into VIP heaven.
Okay, that rule must have been made when there was 100, 90,000 people.
That's always whenever
it's totally true.
They were just there's a couple buttholes, so there's only going to be 180 of us.
Well, and if you think about just the mortality rate, everyone was oh, well, people are always going to be dying. We're never going to solve this.
Right.
But at the same time, they have to then assume people are always dying.
I had a back in Blockbuster days, I had a store manager, and I asked him about that, and he was like, do you know people that are gonna make it to this? He's like, no, not so much my parents' generation, but the grandparents, they would be yeah, we know, we're getting in.
This reminds me of the dumbest the time I the time I was the dumbest about believing something that was obviously not true.
Oh no, what was it?
When someone was like, hey man, did you know that there are more people alive today on Earth than have ever died in history? And I was like, whoa!
One, how the fuck would you possibly know that metric?
Right.
And two, that is
bought it,
egregiously untrue. Since the first person died.
It made me so stressed out.
you immediately go to 50-50.
I want to let you
and
know.
then from there, you're just like, that number is exponentially
This
exploding.
question alone could fund a fake news Facebook campaign. We could make $1 million off just the clicks on this, people being like, what the fuck?
We
Click,
gotta get this info to Alex Jones immediately.
Also, when those zombies rise up, like everyone's like, oh, it's just the zombies who have been like buried in the cemetery. And it's like, no. Like literally the ground is going to like move up as every fucking...
Well, is it the Evil Dead, the Army of the Dead? Like some of those dudes are fucking skeletons. There'll just be skeletons fucking everywhere. Right? There's like dead people. We build houses on top of shit all the time.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
so we're
like
saying candy
the catacombs. The catacombs in Paris were literally like them shoveling all the dead bodies like under Paris.
I just
and then
picture
the city straight up, because they kept like digging, the city collapsed for a moment, and like you just saw like skeletons. Like,
why do people want to go in the bone hole?
Because it's
in Paris?
really cool.
No.
I spent 2 hours down there. It was
I would read on this
incredible.
one. Right. Why the fuck are you going to the bone hole? Like, what do you expect is going to happen down there?
You're going to see a bunch of skeletons like all just stacked on top of one another.
And it probably smells like death in there.
It actually doesn't, strangely.
That's weirder.
How often have
like
you talked
that.
about Barryte's halls smelling like baby wipes?
What?
Have you ever talked about that?
Wait, what? His what smells like baby?
The hallways. I came off the elevator and went
in his apartment building?
It is worth noting the hallways in this apartment building where we record the podcast, they look like something out of the Overlook Hotel in The Shining.
It's the creepiest fucking
There's
apartment
something
hallway.
very off-putting about them.
I get uncomfortable.
But the apartments themselves, very nice.
They're very modern.
Very nice
But
apartments.
the other thing that is unique about these hallways is that aromas like get wafted in and hang.
Yeah, there's nowhere for them to go.
And it's always the weirdest blending of scents, because like one day I'll come up the stairs and I'll like be up here and suddenly I'm like, the whole floor smells like somebody made chicken.
Ooh.
The whole floor smells like chicken.
That's my favorite of the Barryte hallway smells.
Another day it'll just be like weed. Another day, I guess today,
that's when Barryte's
it's
home.
baby wipes.
Yeah, someone was smoking a baby today or something. I don't know what was going on.
So, moving back to the bowl of candy with the lights off.
Barryte was like, we're gonna go so off topic.
What do you-
I tried to go back, but then you got to the catacombs, and I was like, now we're talking about this. It's a Ravenclaw, because that's like definitely the Ravenclaw move of being like, I got a code all night. I got a code all night. I'm just putting that fucking bowl out there. Those kids can take whatever they want. I'm gonna put a sign.
But you are conceding that the bowl's going to be stolen.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, right. Like you're fine with like
you know what? What bums me out about Los Angeles, besides everything,
the sidewalks bum us out.
Is that kids can't really trick or treat here.
Yeah, we talked about this on the Twitter podcast.
Yeah, I'll reiterate. Like, kids don't come to my house, and like I don't blame them. They go to like parking lots, and like all of their parents tailgate.
The trunk or treat.
I don't like that.
That's what the Christians call it. They go to the church parking lot. You go to all the different cars. You ride home by 7:30. It's great.
Trunk or treat.
I've never heard that, but that's a great term.
Trunk or treat is also Hufflepuff.
I went to a Mormon themed Halloween dance.
Hell yeah!
In the 5th grade, and I was a wizard. I was Merlin, and the Mormon mom, Mrs. Nicholas, was like, "Oh, they're not gonna let you in
because
you're practicing magic,
right?" So they took off my hat and the crystal around my neck, and they were like, "He's Merlin, the retired wizard," and they were like, "Oh," they like took their guards away. They're like, "Enter in," and I bought for apples.
Wait, so they're fine with you being you have to be like a reformed sinner in terms of witchcraft?
I have to be Merlin, but I found Jesus Christ, so I'm allowed to come in now. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to amateur haunted houses.
Ugh, it's a Slytherin thing. Like it's all. I think it's all. I want you to experience the darkness inside me, but I'm not going to spend more than like $25 doing it.
Oh, see, I'm thinking it's either a Ravenclaw or a Hufflepuff.
Because you have to like put time and you have to design it.
Yes.
Have you ever watched that documentary? I forget what it's called, about the dudes who like do the overly elaborate haunted houses out of their houses, their actual plate.
You mean Dad who ruins our whole fucking year because we can't go on vacation because he spends all of our money on new haunted houses?
It's wild. Like there's like, I forget the name. I'm so sorry. If you just like Google haunted house documentary, it'll come up.
Sure.
And it's like,
I feel like that's going to lead to a lot of like ghost haunted
Type
houses.
in haunted house documentary.
I'll try to remember, like,
ruined marriage.
It like showed you, it ran the gamut of like effort level, which was the best thing. So there was like one dude who like he tries to make it as legit as like a professional one, and like his entire family kind of goes crazy.
I just realized this is a Christopher Guest movie.
Is this on TLC?
Like,
Is this a TLC show?
I don't know. I think it was just like a feature like somebody made, and then it ran all the way to like the guy who like the day before Halloween was like, oh shit, I should get started. And like just like really clumsily putting together bad props in his backyard, his mom making fun of him.
Halloween wife is the same as overly excited Christmas decoration wife. There's one of two speeds. It's either like, we do this all year long, all the time, or it's John stays up late a lot at night working on this. It's real difficult to get him to come to bed.
I feel like the person who's like super stoked on Christmas and Halloween, like collectively, is also the person who has like seasonal house decoration.
Oh,
like indoor.
Oh, yeah. Like
they're like,
as soon as autumn hits, they got those falling leaf.
the
decor.
candles get swapped out, like
Sure.
the doormat changes, the flag outside like switches.
At Easter time, everything's covered in bunnies and
It's
eggs.
pastels.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, so on the amateur haunted house thing, it's like from like the Ravenclaw angle, that's the architect, like the person who is thinking like, how do I maximize my scare spaces and all of that? But then you've got the Hufflepuff angle, which is the person who's like, we got a bunch of cardboard boxes from like when you like wanted to have a LAN party or whatever. Like, let's just fucking like throw that up and then trash bags over that, and you like walk through that.
I think amateur haunted houses are Gryffindors.
Throwing the one thing we haven't discussed in there, explain.
Okay, because so this is like you trying to make your mark on the community.
Sure.
You're trying to say, I'm going to give something that stands out a little bit from like everyone else just like having you come up on their porch.
I like the angle that you're arguing.
So this is, and you're kind of going for glory because you want everyone to be like, that's the house that you got to go back to next year.
You want to be known as the haunted house, or like it, just like the guy who gives out the like king size Snickers bars.
Because like and like at the very end of it, even if a little bit, if it's not completely like altruistic, you are making the community feel more connected, and you're making you're making like memories for children.
Yeah, no, I feel good about that.
We'll never see you again.
It is true that 8 and under, the amateur haunted house in the neighborhood is basically like fucking Disneyland.
Hell yeah.
Also, like, especially on the like lower end of things, that's the thing that as you age up, you're like, I'm gonna be able to do that. But like right now, I'm so terrified. Like,
and
I
then
remember,
you get to the age and you're like, hell no, that sounds like so much work.
It sounds like so much work, Barryte.
Get that bowl out on the porch with the slide.
I'm going to do.
Right. But, well, I'm just talking about like when you're that little kid, like you see that haunted house and you're like, oh, I'm so terrified of it. But like as soon as you're like brave enough to go in, which bravery is an attribute of a Gryffindor, so it's almost like trying to imbue those qualities that are associated with the house.
You're strengthening children.
I like this. Let's go Gryffindor. I like that one a lot.
Fantastic.
See, I see the nuance in Halloween, and that's why Halloween belongs to the Hufflepuffs.
Really?
That's my argument.
Okay.
So let's shift on to couples costumes.
Oh, God, Slytherin.
Yeah,
Listen, because if you're that couple, you're that couple.
Now, do you feel, just throwing another one out there, do you feel that the mom, dad, baby, or like the parent baby costumes?
No, that's cute. That's a family.
Right, but
I think it's the same thing. It's already difficult having a fucking newborn baby. We went through the extra step of dressing it up like fucking Toto. I think it's all Slytherin.
Really?
But what if the baby's old enough to be like, this is what I want us to all be?
Well, okay, so I'm gonna draw it back to another friend of the pod, Ryan Finnerty.
Yeah.
His son Milo, who I had the pleasure of like hanging out with recently.
Yeah.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Milo rules.
He has like become obsessed with chipmunks, and so he wants for Halloween to be an acorn and both of his parents to be chipmunks.
That rules.
That's so funny.
Right.
Oh, but it is a little bit like though, like, can you imagine like having that much power over two people and just be like, you're gonna be chipmunks because I think that will be fun.
Right, and mom and dad are like, we don't got shit for ideas. Yeah, absolutely. What else can we do? Do you have any other ideas for vacation?
I think in the like first year when a baby has like no cognitive connection to the world and is like literally a floating meat sack of like cuteness.
Yeah,
like that's the point where I'd say that action might be a Slytherin because we're literally like,
look at my baby.
Yeah, there's a little bit of show offness of like
baby.
But at the point where it's the kid calling the shot, I think that's a pretty like family unit move that makes it Hufflepuff.
Okay.
With couples costumes, however, depending on the like impressiveness of the costume, I think there might be a spectrum that slides from Hufflepuff to Slytherin.
No matter what, it's look how much we're in love.
Can I just say that as an adult,
and you find love a Slytherin thing?
Yeah.
Is that real? Really?
No. I don't find love to be Slytherin. I just think like
us showing off our love,
or like somehow like be like weirdly like aggressively proving you're in love.
But what about I think it really depends on the couple because I'm not somebody, unsurprisingly, I suppose, as a Ravenclaw who like. I do not lose my mind over Halloween in any regard or costumes.
I fucking hate being an adult dressing up in costumes.
Like I find it very stressful.
It's always stressful. You either have to get something that's super spot on that I spent money on, or some clever bullshit that none of our other clever friends and all of our clever friends are coming with clever things.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and then you're in a sheet going, oh God, I'm a shitty ghost.
Right. It's like, always that.
And with cosplay being
big, put some shit on there, make that a real shitty ghost.
And as so many friends are now into cosplay, it's like you have already lost. Like you're
for sure.
Go fuck yourself if you show up in your Sailor Moon Anime Expo costume to Halloween. Like, you've already put time into this. There's nothing I'm going to do that's going to look as good as that outfit.
Like, okay, full disclosure, this will be airing on and around Halloween, right?
Yes, and it is a bit of an ego display. Like,
yeah.
I love dressing up. This year, I'm going as Lydia Dietz in Beetlejuice in her schoolgirl uniform at the end.
That's the black on black with the dress and the knee highs.
Yeah. It's like a Catholic schoolgirl. I can't even say schoolgirl. I keep saying schoolgoo.
Yeah, schoolgirl. Yeah.
Schoolgirl.
Schoolgirl.
But she has like some little goth accents, but you can tell that she's kind of like reformed her like isolationist attitude from the beginning of the film. Because I intend to do drag every Halloween for the rest of my life.
Beautiful.
That's gonna be the one day of the year that I'm like fully femme.
Is it weird that Beetlejuice, that in that movie, the villain of the movie doesn't come in until halfway through the movie?
It's kind of the way that Silence of the Lambs is, where like the movie is like he's in there for 10 minutes or whatever.
Hannibal Lecter's in the movie for like 10 minutes.
Best supporting actor.
Yeah.
But like Michael Keaton it's a similar thing where
15 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, like he's the latter half of the movie, like he's involved, but the first like 30 minutes or so, you're like, is Michael Keaton in this?
Also, what is the we know what the conflict is, but there's no bad guy. Like it's just like them living their ghost lives.
They invoke Beetlejuice, and he's like
he's the antagonist. He's not a bad guy, but he's the antagonist.
Well, I suppose you'd also argue that the couple that move into their house after they die are kind of antagonists because they're like moving their shit around, and they're like, we have to get Beetlejuice to solve it, and they're like, oh, that was a mistake.
Is there any other fictional content you can think of where the villain or like the gross pedophile wants to marry a high school girl, becomes a childhood cartoon figure later on,
who literally gets his own like animated series
where they're like, oh, you remember that weird part at the end of the movie? Let's just make him hang out all the time.
Right. Well, there was that animated sequence in Annie Hall.
Oh yeah, that's
sorry.
What's my mantra?
Sorry, Michael, I'm so sorry.
Why are you apologizing to me?
I don't know, just like throwing out Woody Allen's a pedophile.
It's kind of a fact.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure where everyone landed on this room. We came to consensus.
Absolutely. Like there are weird
No,
There's weird timelines.
I never thought about the fact. I never thought about it too hard. Yeah, Beetlejuice straight up just wants to marry a high school girl in that movie.
It has to do with supernatural things, so he can like be back to Earth. So I'm sure it's not like it's a child. It's like a forced child labor thing, but there's no like forced child labor cartoons,
right? But that's also the way a lot of dudes justify like marrying somebody way too young.
Just shotgun marriages, you mean?
Especially like back, like like in olden days, they'd be like, I just need somebody around the house. Might as well be this 13-year-old.
Oh my God! I know viewing history through the modern lens does not work.
No.
All right, which one are we on? Which one are we voting on?
We're still on couples costumes.
Slytherin.
Because this reminds me of like the couple who has the joint Facebook account where it's Tim and Pam.
I've never encountered that in my life.
Tim and Pam, the handler.
It'll be one account. Both of them will be in the photo, and you'll just be thinking, which one of them cheated?
Right. If there's two, if there's that much going on, obviously you're hiding something.
One of them is not allowed to have their own private messages anymore.
I never even thought about that angle.
Wow.
Like you're not even allowed to have an online presence because you like are sending dick pics all the time.
No, it might just be in the other way is that the other person's just like, I don't care about social media, but if there's a funny meme, I want to be able to see it.
Honestly, like you're rarely on Facebook. I tend to reach out to Sierra for like social events,
and she fucking hated that because in like the mid 2000s, it would be like me at a party and it'd be like Sierra Santell. She's like, that's not me, that's Michael. A lot of that. I find Facebook an inefficient way to communicate ideas.
Well, I in general, and this like now is shifting off to like talk work sort of stuff.
Facebook is a Slytherin, right?
Oh, undeniably.
For sure. It's one of the most Slytherin things that's ever been invented.
Whenever work like is trying to do like means of communication, it's like, oh, you reach out through Slack or email, but like you also can text, and it's like we have too many channels already.
Yeah.
Like and the fact that every fucking thing is like, hey, on Reddit, you can send messages. Like, okay, like
remember when you could just leave your house and people wouldn't be able to get a hold of you until you came home?
You can send like you can not only like at people, but you can also DM them.
I always feel shady whenever I contact any of my friends DM over Twitter. I always feel like
really
you
does
feel like
feel
you're
drug
doing like
dealing.
a secret message.
Yeah, it's like, why couldn't you text this? Like, why does your wife want who's not checking your Twitter?
I'm gonna like only contact you through DMs.
It's
from
it's that situation where like you're trying to get a hold of somebody, like the only justifiable reason is like you see somebody post on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and you're like, I know that you are on your phone right now. I'm hitting you on the DM because like you're not picking up your phone.
And that sort of like expectation of availability stresses me out so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like, especially now, like Facebook doesn't let you turn off the read receipts. That's why they're fucking Slytherin.
What do you mean?
On Facebook Messenger, you can't turn off them being able to see that you read the message.
Yeah, you see.
My dad pulled that shit on me the other day.
What? He got mad at you
sent me a message and then I read it and I wasn't going to respond to him. And he fucking was like,
I saw you read it.
He's like, hey, I know you read it, so please tell me what you think. I was like, God damn it, I don't want to talk right now.
Sometimes I have to leave, like, because there's no way to like mark things as unread in like messages on your phone or whatever. And I know I'm like, I will get to that, but if I read this right now, I will forget and not be able to respond.
Y'all have iPhones? You can turn those off.
Can we?
No,
yes.
I've turned off read receipts.
Okay,
but,
yeah. Read receipts.
You turned off all the read receipts. How does money work out?
You guys say read receipts? It's read receipts. I read it.
Or you read it.
What? No, it's like it has been read.
It's a read
at this time.
It's a read receipt.
It was read at this time.
Are they spelled the same way?
It's. What is the word read spelled the same no matter what? Unless it's my name. And then you change one letter. No, it's read receipts. What the hell's wrong with you?
Because I never say this shit out loud because it's not something that occupies my goddamn waking life, Reed.
Well, I'm just saying, like, come correctly. So couples costumes are Slytherin. What's next?
Jesus Christ.
Michael, let's do a couples costume next year.
Oh my lord.
It's gotta be Siskel.
Sure.
It's gotta be Siskel and Ebert, right? Like you guys gotta go as one of the classics.
I've already been Ebert before. I did a sketch where I played Ebert's ghost, and then
Ebert and Roper. I'm sure no one has ever dressed up as Michael Roper before.
Let's do Roper.
Oh my god, Roper would. I'd make an awful Roper.
I played the ghost of Ebert, where he could just choose any form he wanted to. So I was like, I'm a small boy and I got my jaw back. Is that too weird, too soon, and too dark to say? I love Ebert so much. He's my favorite.
I'm glad his mind is still able to live.
Okay, moving on. So, still on the costume front, the sexy blank costume.
Yeah. Or as Michael Santell called it before, the slut costume.
I didn't know what to say. I had to approve because I'll get in trouble. I'll get in trouble on the YouTube of I'll say something and then weeks later someone will be like, yo, that one thing you said really offended me. So I don't know. Can I say slut costumes?
Santell, this is a call out. We invited you on here to let you know you are problematic.
I didn't know. I don't want to be problematic.
But as I was saying also off pod,
you just have to admit
I feel
you are.
A lot of people are sort of I feel there is I'm aware that there is a bit of a movement to reclaim slut as a positive thing, not necessarily a negative thing.
It's a product of the third wave of feminism to say that sexuality should not be something you should be ashamed of.
Is this like Close Encounters of a Third Kind?
Yes, Close Encounters of the third wave of feminism.
A feminist just drives over your fucking house with a bunch of lights in your face.
Wellesley!
No, I know.
So where are we thinking? Because this, you could make the argument that it's a Gryffindor, but I also think that it's a Slytherin, just based on the fact you're dousing a something in sex appeal to say, look at me.
I also feel like you're right. Slutty costume isn't the right thing because I'm choosing to wear this, right?
Yeah.
It's not being foisted on you. Maybe societal constraints are making you feel that way. But regardless of that, I chose to wear this frilly sort of thing. So I feel like it's a Slytherin thing.
I think I'm really conflicted about it because the origin of this sort of trope that is usually something that we're kind of making fun of is
Illuminati sex cults.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for following my breadcrumbs.
The password is Fidelio.
Like sex shops and or Halloween stores that sell these costumes that first of all cost 4 times as much as the dude costumes. They're $80 for 2 square inches of fabric. And then it's usually something that barely resembles a thing. It'll be Little Red Riding Hood, and then she has a red cape that only goes down to her shoulders, and that's all there is to the costume.
That's an unfunctional cape, FYI. That's fucking a bib.
That's not
it's a bib.
By definition, it is not a cape.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's been a great subversion of this.
Now it's the ironic sexy.
There's ironic sexy, or dudes have been had more freedom, especially gay dudes. Gay dudes love a sexy Halloween costume.
Reed's doing a holler face right now, come holler at me.
My hands are by my face so I can let the whole world know.
You got a bubble on. You just want to take the space helmet off and yell it.
Speaking of the call-out thing, last night I was at a party and we made the fun discovery that hand on, if you move the hand from this side to this side, it changes the meaning.
Yeah.
The minute that if you take your right hand and you put it on the outside of your mouth,
the right hand side of your mouth,
on the right hand side of your mouth, but then
almost cupping just one side of your mouth.
That is, hey, how are you?
Hey, fellas, come down this way.
But if you shift that right hand to the left side of your mouth,
you're so sneaky.
So the back of your hand is facing your mouth.
Hey, come over here. It immediately.
Oh, I also think you have to put.
I'm gonna take a photo.
Okay.
Yeah. But also the other context of this as well. See the thumb on the other side, how it's bent inwards? I think that thumb is also exclusionary. Hey, everyone's allowed except this thumb. It's a sneaky thing.
Don't tell the thumb what's going on.
Yeah, he's not allowed to know. He's the prude of the hand.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about sexy costumes.
Yes. Costumes.
So are we thinking that they're Slytherin or Gryffindor? Because they're not Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff.
I think ultimately, it is the Slytherins of the world who judge it for being a slut costume, as Michael Santell.
So if it's Gryffindor, it's hey, look how brave I am. I'm comfortable with this tonight. I'm doing this.
I think anybody who wears whatever the fuck they want on Halloween is a very Gryffindor move.
I like
and
that.
that includes women saying yeah, I'm allowed to do whatever I want with my body.
Yep.
I look good. And yeah, you still have to respect me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those two things are not exclusive.
Mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
All right, so let's rattle on through some of the hits right now.
Yeah.
We've got skeletons.
Oh man, it's like just being it's scary knowing that this is inside of me right now.
I feel like
everybody has a spooky skeleton inside of them right now.
I feel like skeletons have a weird arc. When your little skeletons are fucking terrifying.
Oh.
Then when you get a little older, you're fuck it. Skeletons are all whatever. Everyone's got a skeleton.
Oh, I thought you meant a tiny skeleton is scarier than an adult.
Oh, I think absolutely.
A tiny skeleton is 100% the scariest thing.
A Chucky-size skeleton is the most frightening of skeletons.
How did this child die? die.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I feel like now that I'm like a grown adult, skeletons freak me the fuck.
Oh, you got more scared.
I feel like now that I understand, like, oh, that was a person.
Like it went
Like
through
that's a dead person that someone boiled off all their, like they didn't die. They like took the meat off their bones. Like how the fuck do you make a skeleton, right? You have to like put acetone and like get all the meat off. Then you have to like,
Santell, stop!
it's like H.H. Holmes. You gotta like sew that shit together.
I hate that. Oh God, I don't.
Right? Skeletons are fucking, there was a person inside of there. We are skeletons.
Yeah, like right now we're just chattering bones with like flappy meat parts on top of
Yo,
us.
them bones.
But when you're a
Them dry
child,
bones.
that's from minstrel culture.
Oh no, is it? Oh shit.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
them bones is like stuff they would say during minstrel shows. Because they would have bones because it would tie back.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there'd be a Mr. Bones, and then but like when you're a child, a skeleton is just a thing that dances for you. So, like, I don't know why like dancing is a trope associated with skeletons.
It's gotta be the minstrel show. It's gotta be something like people saw it on stage and shit, and then they brought that shit home.
I always think back to that one like animated short, like the spooky scary skeletons.
Spooky scary skeletons.
Like there are I'm not even sure if that's the song, but it's like there's like a like it's a Mickey Mouse like 1930s.
Yeah, it's the one when you
yeah.
think of cartoon dancing skeletons, it's the one that everyone's seen.
Right.
Yeah.
I strangely, when I think Halloween and I think skeletons, I think of those weird door posters that have the joints, like the brads in them, so you can like shift. You can position it however you want.
Articulated, yeah.
If we're talking papers, which house is the house that's like, just here, this is fine?
Oh, that was my house.
No. I mean, what Harry Potter house?
No, I'm saying just as far as just like so we know, growing up, like it was like get the Halloween decorations, and they were like the flat, like just like put them on the door, and
But
you're
stuff
like,
that's easy to take
we
down later.
Halloween.
But Mother Barryte is a teacher, so I feel like she gets an ass full of fucking decorations.
I mean,
Like
yes,
October 1st, you're already like leaves and cobwebs and skeletons. It's
Oh,
like,
no,
I gotta go home and do this shit.
As a theater teacher, just like in general, it's just like I spend all my time with the kids. Like, just put up whatever you
I
want.
imagine she's too tired. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would say skeletons. Overall, or
Ravenclaw because of the science component.
maybe I was gonna say Slytherin just because they are like legitimately like that's just like a harboring of death. It's just like a reminder of like one day that's gonna be you.
Right. We're all turned into bones.
I mean,
And that's why I'm not going into those fucking catacombs with you, Michael.
right, with their fucking weird underground cove town.
Like old French dudes and they all have their like skeleton berets on. I'm not trying to look at that.
guys, it's
Every
really
time
cool
you text me at 2
historically.
in the morning, that's why I say no, Barryte. I'm not going to Bone Town with you. I'm not going there. I don't
We're
want
not
to see
going in the
those.
bone hole.
Yeah, we're staying here on top of land. Let's get baguettes.
What do we think about cobweb decorations?
Ugh.
Oh my gosh.
Who thinks they look good?
It never does.
They always look like fucking just cotton, right?
Yeah. Also, like,
Well, there's always like that single large bunch that you didn't stretch out. Like you got the general cobwebbery, but then you've got like the edges that are always like thicker, and then the glob that's just stuck in the bush.
why do we think that a house that hasn't been entered in a while is scarier than a house that has had people living in it continuously? Because that's where this is coming from. Because you're saying like this house hasn't been inhabited. I guess like that would
Perhaps
just
because
evoke
the
that
house has an urban legend associated with it, or because there was a murder, so nobody was willing to live there.
Yeah, but I just like
Boo Radley's house was fucking creepy, and people walked in and out of there all day.
I don't remember most of that book.
Oh,
I just know that it made me know racism was wrong.
I remember the trial much more than I remember Boo Radley.
Oh, Boo Radley would like creep around in the yard and shit
Well,
like
I know
that
that
behind trees.
he would put like food out for Scout or take food. I forget which.
Oh,
he
yeah.
left trinkets.
Yeah, there's like treasures and stuff like that.
That's another To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, because the title alludes to Boo Radley. You barely see that dude in the book. It's mostly just about Atticus.
Well, yeah, that's like
Boo Radley is To Kill a Mockingbird as Hannibal is to Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, he's the one that everyone's waiting for. They're like, when are we going to kill that mockingbird?
You were saying something about cobwebs.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, it's just like, otherwise, if you're not doing like it has to be a haunted house, that's why no one's going in there. That's just saying like, ooh, if you're gross and don't clean your house, that's spooky, right?
Maybe that's what
So
it
you're
is.
saying there's like a societal sort of shaming going on?
Yeah, what if I can't reach those cobwebs? I'm a short man.
Right.
You get a broom.
I
Listen.
feel like the fake cobwebs don't do justice because if I'm walking my dog and walking to a real cobweb, it's never like, oh, cobwebs on me. It's always like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah,
It's ripping my face off.
You'll never see a more visceral reaction than someone walking into
singular
cobwebs.
strand always.
Every
And
time.
it's like, it always like latches around to your ass and you're just like, where is it?
And then like 5 hours later, you're like, the spider could still be on my body right now.
That's always the fear, that there's a spider that living in your goat or something and you clean yourself and you get bit. I have a spider bite on me and it fucking hurts.
He's pointing to his crotch.
No, it's right next to my
okay.
crotch.
He's taking his pants
No,
off, folks.
not all the way, but like, look.
Whoa!
And it like broke the skin. And
That
I
looks
had
like a nipple, dude.
It looks like I have a weird fucking spider nipple on my
Maybe
pelvis.
you're going to have some spider eggs hatch
Shut
inside
the
of you.
fuck up. Shut the
Oh,
fuck
man.
up. Did you ever read the scary stories with the fucking terrifying illustrations?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. No, never, because I have an overactive imagination and
Just
that sort of
Google
shit like
scary story spider lady and there's a picture of a woman like, and there's a fucking just like spiders all over her fucking face.
I might have told this dream I had on the podcast. I had this dream when I don't like from maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But it stuck with me of I was in a Denny's. There was like a baby like seated at a high chair. And then at one point it was like babbling and it's like, and then it tips its head back and its neck just like opens like a Pez dispenser and spiders came
Jesus
out.
Christ.
And that was to me just like, I was like, well, I'm awake now forever. That's just one of those dreams that
That's also the third act conclusion of Lost in Space.
Yeah.
so cobwebs are
I think they're so dorky because, like,
they're
Hufflepuffs.
Hufflepuffs.
yeah, you either get the cotton ones or you get the spray ones. Either way, they don't look real.
All right. Bats. Just bats.
They're like science-y, right? Like even scientific bats, even just like, oh, there are bats that like suck off, they get blood from cows and shit like that. They just are fine. They just got fucking rabies and shit like that.
No,
I
that's
mean-
the thing is because they tend to carry rabies more often than some other like, are they rodents? What kind of animal is a bat? Is it a bird?
The
What's
Joker
happening?
always calls Batman a flying rodent. So
Yeah,
yes, I think they are.
rodents. But I mean, bats are associated with Halloween because of Dracula and
Are
vampires.
they? I feel like just fucking night. It's nighttime and bats just.
Sure, but I
Well,
think
like, his whole thing is he turned into a bat.
right.
He turns into wolves too, though.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's in the what's the movie with the Dracula one with Keanu Reeves?
Oh, Letters to a Dracula.
Letters to a Dracula. That's correct. He turns into a wolf at one point. He tries to he's falling in love with Lydia from Beetlejuice, and he just puts on like a big hat and like a cloak and like walks around outside. He's just
Wait,
weak.
He's a wolf in a cloak and a hat.
No. Like at one time
No,
he's a wolf.
he's a wolf in cloaked clothing.
He can
All
just
right,
turn into
shut up.
lots of things.
I didn't know he could do more than one animal. Also, some bats are super cute, and so I feel bad. that
Are they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
there
like,
are some pretty cute
there's
bats
ones
out
that
there.
just straight up look like they have a puppy face, but they just happen to have like flappy, leathery wings.
Like La Luna. Did you ever read that book in the 4th grade, La Luna?
what the
It's like,
hell?
it's like a bat that loses her family and then she finds a new family and the art is gorgeous.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It has one of those fucking kid stamps on it, like,
Nah.
this is approved reading for
Nah,
children.
I was too busy getting chicks back
In
then.
the
to read.
fourth
I
grade?
wasn't reading. Yeah, I was like playing the sports game, and I was crushing beer cans on
So
my
are
head.
we thinking that bats are Ravenclaws? Is that where you're leaning?
They're scientific. They're like science. They're like just terrifying as being bats.
I think just by like there's
They
just
do-
something like inherently terrifying about them because they're not quite a bird, and they're all hairy, and they're just like
Sure.
Like foxes.
they're and they just like freak the fuck out. Anytime you see a bat, it knows that it's not supposed to be where you are.
That said, bats also like the echolocation angle is
that rules.
is crazy impressive. And if you've ever seen, because so bats use echolocation to locate their food.
Bats
and
are the dolphins of the sky.
They
Yeah.
are, and they are fucking incredible because when they ping onto a insect, they then do like a swoop scoop with their tail. So they aren't like
just like you did at that cat clinic. You had to do a swoop and a
Swoops.
pit. Yeah, you had to get the poop
they
out
aren't
of there.
necessarily just like going like open mouth
great
to like
callback,
get.
Santell.
They aren't necessarily just like open mouth flying and like
they're
getting.
not like Jaws of
Yeah,
the
they're
night.
not gobbling like a fucking Pac-Man of the sky.
Right.
They're instead like they'll do like a dip, they'll scoop it and then like launch it into their mouths.
This is all science. This is all
Yeah,
science.
it's like, meanwhile, I can't always like stick the landing getting my straw in my mouth.
Right.
And I can see it.
You do that shit where you like poke yourself in the nose. You're like, what the fuck was
Yeah,
that?
or it like grazes my face like a caress. I'm like, fuck.
I always like the gentle kiss of the straw.
Yeah.
I hate when you like do the thing where you go right into your gums.
I don't have depth perception.
So we're going with Ravenclaw. Bats are really cool, by the way.
Yeah, man,
That's
that's
great.
just fucking rule. Anything that's like, damn, the science of this is really cool. We're gonna have a Ravenclaw bias.
I think we're closing out with candy corn, which I think we all know what it is.
Oh, do we?
Fucking poison.
It's gross. Who the fuck likes it? Why is it still a candy in a world with Snickers?
It feels like the time of maypoles and like like everything costing a nickel.
It does have a weird it does have like Dead on the Oregon Trail.
It
does
feels
feel
like-
yeah.
It's candy that you made because you had to ration the good candy,
But
ingredients.
What was
For the
ever
war.
like? What flavor do you associate with candy
it's
corn?
honey flavored. I know it.
Is
Candy
that
corn.
what it's
Is
supposed
that what
to
it is?
taste?
Because
Yeah.
I've never fucking been able. It tastes like candy corn, and I always
Hold
am like,
on, I'm gonna do it live.
get that out of here.
I just
Well,
have you ever had the
it's-
ones that are shaped like pumpkins?
Oh yes. So it's supposed to taste like honey, but it really just has the texture of wax.
Why would you call it candy corn?
Like it's a little kernel.
Yeah, but I don't think of corn like that.
Like
And it's not. Corn is in a fucking triangle. Those
It
are
would-
like Blade Runner.
it would be
snake
as if you
scales.
called it like watermelon bites, and it tasted like
honey. Again, it tastes like honey.
Because they were saying, okay, because literally, if you're like it's wax, that's because they use something called confectioner's wax.
No, thank you.
It's literal. Maybe it's the same wax as those candy bottles that are just filled with like a little bit of liquid
That's
that also
what I
nobody
always
eats anymore.
think.
Why the fuck do they give those to kids? Because they're always like, oh, you can eat the wax. And the whole time you're like, this is just disappointing. This is just like biting a fucking candle.
The original name was called Chicken Feed.
Ugh.
Yeah,
I guess
and then that was in the 1880s.
I'd be fine if it was called chicken feed. If you told me like this is the shit we feed chickens, and I'm like, yeah, this tastes like fucking awful that we feed chickens.
But there's no part of me that would be like, oh, I want to eat chicken feed because
Sure.
So, because this really harkens. This is a very much an Americana sort of patriotic. It's really weird.
Really?
Around the time that this was made in the 19th century, it was very much in trend to do things that were agricultural or rural because those were seen as the people who were like the salt of the earth, the people who were like doing the most work for the country. So they were seen as like the people who were holding us up. They were the cool people of the country. I'm saying we gotta have that context.
So Hufflepuff?
It seems like it because like that's
the thing we all knew.
Okay.
It's like the Little House on the Prairie era of cool, which is Hufflepuff as hell.
All right, so we have sorted them all. With all of that in mind, I would like to thank Michael Santell for joining us.
You really have to have me back. In fact, I'm gonna put my foot down and say I'm gonna have to do another one of these.
We're going to have you back. Oh, don't you worry.
And it's gonna be just as
Hey!
bonkers and hard to keep control of, and I can't wait.
Yeah. Where upon the internet can we find more of you?
Oh, you can find us on the YouTube at Super Couch Fighters. You can find me at the Twitter at Michael J. Santell. And if you're ever in the greater Los Angeles area, come see a show of Comedy Sports. It's
Hell
beautiful.
yeah.
You're invited.
No, you gotta
All of you
see
are invited.
Santell perform live. It'll change your life.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can find more of myself at Belated Media on Twitter. You can find more of Reed at That Dang Dingus on Twitter. If you guys,
Dingus.
if you find so inclined to be leaving us a review on iTunes, we appreciate and love you. And we will get more of you informed and sorted on the next episode of the Sorting Hat Podcast. Have a spooky Halloween, guys.
Anything can happen on Halloween.
Be a
A dog can
spooky.
turn into a cat. Remember that Tim Curry thing from the witch, the little witch?
No, I remember when he was in a video game and he told everyone to go to space.